So how I'm going to format this video is I'm going to try to, for every map, give like one random tip for the map, not to do with a setup or a lineup, and then give one setup and one lineup, which is either like a really good lineup or just like a really cool one. Except, obviously for some maps, that's one of those things is going to be hard. Like for Abyss, probably not a good one to start with. But my random tip was going to be putting the mollies behind these boxes on both sides, except they've decided to patch that, and update a patch that only affects KILLJOY, and they've only decided to patch the ones on the plant spots, because if I can actually get one, yeah. All the other boxes around the map still work, but they have just patched the default ones. So, but as for the lineup on this map, I'm gonna say, as a lot of people would say, any lineup that clears the backside is gonna be good. So for this one, what you're gonna want to do, come up against this, just in the middle of this platform here, and just like aim around here, just underneath the middle of these two, and jump through.
Swarm grenade.
That one will land back there and
out.
clear the whole thing for you. And then as for the setup, this kind of goes as a tip as well, but placing the mollies on the ledges can be very powerful. People can't really stay on there then. And this definitely isn't the best setup for B, but it's definitely a cool one. I like to put a molly on the ledges if round starts and an alarm bot. And have my second molly just like around here. This way, this melts anyone trying to come across the ledge. They can't continue jumping and they can't stay on the ledge, so they most of the time just fall off and die, which you get the kill for because you damage them. Okay, so moving on to Ascent, obviously amazing KILLJOY map. My random tip for this map is going to be a pretty situational one, because obviously a lot of the fun from this map comes from the setups and lineups, which I could talk about for like an entire like half an hour long video just on this map. But for my random tip, very situational, but just remembering that your mollies kill pretty much like all other sentinel util, obviously except like sage walls and stuff, but especially like KILLJOY and Cypher trips. Like Cypher, you can just molly trips on A, and especially for B, especially if you're against a KILLJOY playing lane, chuck a molly through the window,
out.
And it'll just delete like their entire setup. Most of the time, you can pretty consistently get at least one of their mollies and a alarm bot, or everything, if you place it right. And a lot of the time, you can get Cypher trips as well. Even if you just like place one like molly there, that might kill one main, and it might kill them if they have a trip coming across the switch here or lane. While we're on B, I'll show you the one's setup for this map, which I believe I'd almost say is the best setup in the game, and it has honestly stopped me from even doing lane setups most of the time. You'll like never see me doing a lane setup anymore, and if I am, it's one of the ones down here with hidden mollies. But the setup that I'm mainly using on B is having one molly here,
Swarm grenade.
and the other molly like on this kind of shaded bit here,
Swarm grenade.
which kind of works the same. This will still hit them if they're going lane, and it'll pretty much, but it also blocks off main. That's the one issue with the lane setup. It gives them like all of this space. So with this, it's still hitting them if they run lane, but it's also hitting everything.
Bomb grenade out.
And this one gets so many kills when they're running out. Especially if you've also got like a turret there to slow them down while they're stuck in it. And for the lineups on this map, I couldn't settle for just one, so I'm going to go for two. Well, it's technically three, but one, the first one I've shown many times. Obviously, most people know the standard KILLJOY lineup for wine to go with the ult.
Swarm grenade out.
But ages ago, I created a second one to land main, and pretty much guarantee that ulting A is a win if you couldn't get the mollies off. So with the ult, I'll show the lineups first, then show the ult. But you've obviously got the first lineup in the gap, as usual. And then your second lineup, which I throw first, to stop them from actually running out of the ult, because this won't kill them if they run far enough, so stopping them from running out of the ult. You throw just at the tip of this, like kind of like dark leaf sticking out here,
Placing swarm
like that,
grenade.
and then in the gap,
Placing swarm grenade.
this one lands main, and that one lands wine, which with the ult,
Initiated. My ultimate is ready.
you throw this one first, so they can't run out of the ult.
Grenade out.
It pretty much hits like all of this one as well. Sometimes it'll land better and hit everything. And then you've obviously got your one wine.
Area's clear. Swarm grenade out.
And then the other one I wanted to show is a recent lineup that I found. I found it when I was looking for lineups to break cipher trips, which people have asked before. You don't really need them because you can just throw the molly. But while I was looking for one, I found a really cool entry molly for when you're attacking. You want to come up against the fourth line in the wall here, and just aim the tip of your turret on this corner, like that, and just
Placing
throw,
swarm grenade.
and this perfectly clears this whole area.
Swarm grenade out.
So now move on to Bind. Now Bind is one of the maps that actually has a very good random tip, which my tip for this map just had to be the turret boosts. You've got, and they're all on A, but you've got the easier one, lining up that back foot of the turret with this part of the plank.
Placing sentry.
Just lets you jump, if I don't mess it up, lets you jump up on to this
Recalling my
box.
bot.
But then the one that I'm always doing is lining the turret up with this crack in the floor, like that. This one may take a couple of attempts sometimes, but then you can jump into it, and then just jump, and then just jump crouch, and you'll get on top of the truck sometimes. There we go. Which from here, obviously, you can either peek, or sit back, which I like to go back to about where this square is, and then you can't be seen. Peek here, or I'm still trying to hit a clip with it. You can make the jump around here. Very hard jump to make, but there we go. Which, if I walked around this corner and saw a Killjoy up here, I'd probably be confused. You know, you just don't expect a Killjoy up there. So I'm still trying to hit a clip with that one, because I'm just now learning to get this jump consistent, well, more consistent. A lot of the time you don't actually need to do like the uncrouch. If you get it right, even if you're doing on that side more, you can just, jump. Okay, it's not going to work now, but I have been getting it pretty consistently. But it's definitely a lineup that you should practice.
Bot coming back.
Turret. As for the setup while I'm here, this is one that I found the other day. I was just looking for more A setups because I would always do the same one, which isn't very good if it gets naded. And I was looking around like ones like this,
Placing swarm grenade.
which were
Swarm
working.
grenade out.
And then I was like, I wonder if there's more that I could get like hitting this, and found that you could put a molly up here,
Placing swarm grenade.
and then you can stand here, and as soon as the barriers go down, chuck a molly like in here.
Placing swarm grenade.
Both of these pretty much unbreakable, because if you have an alarm bot here,
Alarm bot out.
they can't break this molly without triggering the alarm bot, and if they come over here, they're going to be out of range and not know that the molly's there. And if they were up here, they can't break this one, and to break this one they'd have to get all the way over here and start looking down. Which also gives me the idea of liking this turret here,
Turret out.
which can then trigger that molly, which you can then trigger that molly off that turret, seeing them standing up on top of this. And this just hits everything.
Swarm grenade out. Swarm grenade out.
this is one lineup that hits pretty much everything on B. Hits every plant spot imaginable. If you come in this corner here and put your turret symbol on this like cylinder, and it lands on the top and hits
Bomb
everything.
grenade out.
This plant spot hits front plant, and it hits. I'll throw it again, and yeah, it's gonna hit the inside of the tube, both sides of here, and then also the front plant.
Bomb grenade.
Moving on to what's probably KILLJOY's worst map, not only because Cypher just dominates the map, but also because KILLJOY just sucks on it. Best tip, the tip I can give that actually works really well is attacking. What I will generally do is chuck an alarm bot up here,
Placing alarm
and
bot.
then put both my mollies
Placing swarm
in
grenade.
this like corner here,
Placing swarm grenade.
and then I want you to sit here and hide. What this does, these mollies won't get broken because they can't break them until they get to here, which by that point your alarm bot hits them long before.
Bomb
You pop these
grenade
mollies
out.
and it hits all of this. And the idea is you're just using this to delay the retake.
Bomb grenade out.
As for setups, let's be honest, both sides suck. And I would show my A setup, but most Sentinels are playing on B on this site. So I want to show that KILLJOY is at least somewhat okay on B, even though she gets completely outclassed by Cypher. And for B, what I am doing is placing one molly on this square,
Placing swarm grenade.
and then another molly on this one.
Placing swarm
Very,
grenade.
very simple setup, but it hits like
Bomb
everything
grenade out.
and covers like all these gaps here. And this one
Placing
covers
swarm grenade. Bomb grenade
pretty
out.
much everything. They might get stuck in the corner, or they have to push all the way out to here, which means that I like playing in this corner and just swinging that angle off the setup. I don't think I've ever used a lineup on A, because I have them, but never get a chance to use them because I'm always using my mollies as the first tip I showed you. So I'll show my B lineup, and I may as well just show both. There's only two of them. The one for the both from this corner. One from stairs is aiming just in this corner here, and jump throw.
Placing swarm grenade.
And then the one for in front is you're putting your HUD in this spot there, like that. I've now forgotten the lineup. It's like that. I'm almost certain.
Placing
And
swarm
jump throw
grenade.
that. Like I said, I never use lineups on Sunset. Yeah, that is the lineup. So you got your stairs line
Bomb
up,
grenade out.
and your lineup for the
Bomb
front.
grenade out.
Now, my one tip for C, not tip for C, my one tip for Lotus is actually going to be two tips, because one of them is like a very small, not even tip, it's more like just like a trick that you can do sometimes. But my main tip is that this is the map that I especially find lurking very powerful on. I will always find more value lurking on this map than any other map, which if you've watched my Lotus VOD that I've done where I review one of my games on Lotus, you'll just see how well the lurking can work. Which, I don't really need to go through and explain how it works, but if your team's going A, even just, yeah, pushing up like B, holding this for a bit, and then getting through is always going to be a good lurk. Just catching one that's pushed out C, people push out C a lot on this map, even just holding, waiting for them to get the orb. You're going to get a lot of value lurking on this map. Especially because it's so big, which means people are going to fast rotate a lot. And you can even lurk onto sites very easily. And then the other small like trick, that the very small one is, if I am playing on site, I love getting up on top of this box post plant, because no one ever really plays on top of this box, but you're hidden from like everything. Easy to swing a waterfall, especially if there's like a smoke there. You can swing them coming out of the smoke, and you can swing here as well if you don't mess it up. You can hold this angle as they're retaking. Now for the setup, I wish they never changed Lotus. I think everyone knows that. When this was a lot skinnier, it was the best setup in the game by far. But now, Killjoy became a lot worse in this map. But C is still the best site. With this setup, one molly in this corner, and then a molly around here, then an alarm bot, and always, and pretty much, yeah, always turret on top of these boxes. Doesn't really matter where. As you can see, it sees everything. And this setup will also hit everything. The idea of this molly is that it won't get broken, and it hits them coming down like this, like water lane here. And it's very easy to play off. You can play off this setup from almost anywhere. You can peek off of it from here, as they're pushing through it. Or most of the time you're playing back here, and as they're kind of, you know, knife out running through the setup to get away from it, you can just swing here and kill them. And then as for the lineup, I'm also going to show my C lineup. I'd show one of the weird creative ones, but it's never going to get used. So my C lineup, obviously very hard to get, especially Killjoy lineups over the massive wall. So if you come around here, come up against this, and then just aim your crosshair in this gap here, and jump throw.
Placing swarm grenade.
This one will land default.
Swarm grenade out.
Now the Haven random tip is going to be quite different to the rest of them. I don't really have a just like unique tip to this map. What people don't realise is that playing B here on Killjoy is actually good a lot of the time. Like normally a team will want you on like one of the main sites AOC, but I find that I've got more value if I'm just holding at B with either just an alarm bot or just the molly.
Swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
As they push in, and then my alarm bot in garage, which this one doesn't work anymore, so I'm just using this one,
turret out,
which will get them as they push up into garage and coming out C long. Does the same thing, but it can get shot from like back here, but that still lets you know that they're coming garage. Now obviously this is not going to always work, because like info setups are not always going to be good. If they're just hard rushing sites every single round, these setups are going to do nothing. So if you want a more in-depth explanation of how that kind of works, watch my like video that I did a while ago of like a bunch of Killjoy tricks. Because that one I did a good explanation of the difference between playing info and playing setup, and why I'm almost never playing for info. And I will point out that I'm especially playing the setup when I have my ult, because it only uses one molly at like a maximum. It means you can save one molly for your ult lineups on this map, which I have one for A and C. Like I said, there's no insane setups on these maps. The best I'm going to do is for A, for an actual like double molly setup, you're playing like this one, which like I said, it's not going to hit anyone coming into sight, but it will sometimes get a kill on people that are running in to try to plant. Or I'm just putting, because they really hate Killjoy, and we can't do this hidden molly anymore into the crack. That's the one thing they changed about Haven when it came back. Before it left, we could do this molly,
placing swarm grenade,
and they brought it back, and that was the only change they made, I'm pretty sure, stopping us from putting that molly in there, because Riot hates Killjoy mains. So now we have to do this one, which hits more, but it's also way easier to get shot. But that's for default. And then I'll use this molly here to hit all of this.
Swarm grenade out.
As they're pushing out sewers.
Recalling my bot.
And then I'll have like an alarm bot. And then yeah, this molly. This one. And then I'll have my turret up here to hold sewers as well.
Placing sentry.
This way you're killing people that come out of sewers. And then when they try to plant, you're also damaging them there. And as for my lineup, there's a lot of Haven lineups on this map, but there's a lot of lineups on this map, but none of them are like real fancy. They're all just kind of like just good lineups. But my one fancy one is going to be my attacking ult lineup for Heaven, because when you ult in here,
Initiated. My ultimate is ready.
leaves a gap in Heaven, and I'll be placing the ult and running back to throw this lineup, coming up onto here.
Clear.
And once again, this is one thing they changed when they changed the jumping mechanics of jump lineups. So you want to place the HUD that pops up and you put out your molly, not quite fully in this corner here, a bit to the right of it, like that, and then jump
Placing
through,
swarm grenade.
and it'll land like that. Not as good as the old lineup that used to be on this map,
Swarm grenade
but
out.
it still works.
Initiated. My ultimate is ready.
Still kills anyone sitting in this corner.
Swarm grenade out.
Icebox is going to be pretty much the exact same as Haven, which is also the reason I've saved these two maps for last. Well, the last for the maps that are actually in the game currently. My one tip, same as Haven, it's going to be playing info, so I'm going to avoid saying the same thing as Haven and just show you how I play info. How I'm playing info on this map, generally this turret, just always been a good turret, holds the push from underneath the tube and up into kitchen. It just won't hold people coming up to the window. And then I will most of the time be on B, playing this molly here, if you can actually get it. There we go. With an alarm bot.
Alarm bot out. Swarm grenade out.
Which this lets you play pretty much anywhere around like this whole area. You can play anywhere around here, and even back like Snowman here. I'll generally be playing this like backside here. And when the alarm bot goes off, you can delay a bit. This hits everything. Top of here as well. And then I'm saving my other molly either to retake A, or if they still come B, just to molly, delay plan. As for an actual setup, B, I'm testing a couple new ones, but B is not very good, it's too open. As for A, still not very good, and got worse, way worse, because once again, they stopped us from putting mollies into this box.
Placing swarm grenade.
Which you can still place it like that, which is still hard to shoot, but it's not going to hit too much. And you can't actually, like, you know, throw them all the way into that gap anymore. And plus with that ages ago, changed how far you can see the mollies as the enemy team. The main one that I use is just gotten worse, which is this molly here. Alarm bot up against the barrier like this. And then as soon as the barriers go down, chuck a molly like this. This one is amazing, except the issue is that because of how far people can see the mollies from, they're seeing it from like back here and just shooting it way before they get to the alarm bot around here. Because especially people aren't just running into Icebox like this a lot of the time. They are like very skeptical to push in, and they're going very slowly, and they hear this molly and shoot it. But if it does go off, it hits everything. As for my lineups on A, not just A, I'm gonna make up for this being I'm gonna show two lineups because of how shit the other tips were. The first one is an A attacking lineup, coming like onto this, doesn't really matter where you stand, and then aiming at the corner here.
Placing swarm grenade.
Lands like this, and clears the back of Jen and the back of this box.
Swarm grenade out.
It clears anyone trying to sneak playing behind here. You'd see
Placing
it.
Swarm grenade
Yeah,
out.
people can't really play behind here. They have to back all the way up and then visible to put a couple more things. As for a post-plant lineup, I'm going to say the B1, just because it's the one that I use the most. For B default, coming up against the door frame here, which gives you this kind of small gap in the sky here. Depending on how you come up against here, you'll get a bigger or smaller gap, it doesn't really matter. And then you're putting the HUD that comes up with the molly, the little dot on the top of it, in there like that.
Placing
and
swarm
jump
grenade.
throwing.
Swarm grenade out.
And that gym molly for default. And now we'll move on to all the maps that aren't in the game yet, starting with Pearl and then Split, because they're coming back next. I will start by saying that I cannot wait for this map to be coming back after so long. Even though I wish it was also Fracture instead of Split, even though Split's amazing, but I'm bored of it. But, and it's weird for me to say that I'm excited for Pearl to come back, because realistically, it's a pretty shit Killjoy map, especially for damage setups. But I don't play info on it, and I haven't played the map since I was plat. So, my tip is going to be that this map's very lineup heavy for me. Very fun to get lineup clips on. Might be different now that I'm higher rank, but lineups, they're everywhere. I remember I kept my A lineups all from the same spot with this bit longer grass, and so I'm going to use 2 of these lineups as my like random tip. I'm going to say that the entry lineups on A are amazing. All using this kind of like framework here, scaffolding. Your first one for backside
Here.
is going to be in like right here where I'm shooting, placing that HUD line like that, and
Placing
throwing.
swarm grenade.
That's going to end backside,
Placing swarm grenade.
and it's going to
Swarm
hit
grenade out.
all of that perfectly. As for dugout, my lineups, I've made sure that they're from the same spot to not get confused. And for these ones, I'm actually going to have to try to remember these, because I did not practice them before I came in. So it's going to be so it's going to be in the middle of this pole here, and then in the corner. So, bit in the middle, like that, or even a bit lower. Jump
Placing
throw,
swarm grenade.
and then in the corner,
Placing swarm
normal throw.
grenade.
I think. Yes, thank God. Which they land at the same time when thrown like that, and
Swarm grenade out.
they simply just kill this person. As for my setup on this map, everything on this map is just hidden mollies and playing mind games. My main setup, if I don't mess it up, is molly on that ledge there, coming up here,
Placing
molly
swarm
on that
grenade.
kind of hidden ledge, sits there on this brick, with an alarm bot like this,
Placing alarm bot.
and this, it hits both plant spots and stops them from pushing through towards dugout, so I'll mostly be playing dugout with this one.
Swarm grenade out.
Like that. Or if you want to be really mean and kill someone, use the same setup,
Placing swarm grenade.
use that same molly, then place, there is a molly that can hit like all of this area. I'm pretty sure it is something like this.
Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
That looks like it, hits everything. But we're not going to use that molly, we're going to place it a bit further out, and a bit further over, like
Placing
this,
swarm grenade.
with an alarm bot.
Bot coming back.
Here, you're pretty much giving up sight, but let's be
Placing
honest here,
alarm
you're giving
bot.
up sight anyway on Pearl with Killjoy. So, this molly here, they're going to be running in here, at least one player, hit the alarm bot, you're going to pop this molly, it's going to leave a gap, so they're going to run into the gap, and then you're going to pop the second one, and absolutely
Swarm grenade out.
kill them, every time. Because if you're running in, this molly pops,
Swarm grenade out.
you run into the gap,
Swarm grenade out.
and then like a second later get hit by that one. And then for my lineup on this map, I'm just going to say that there's so many lineups and they're all so fun.
Recalling my bot.
But this one I'm going for more of a fun lineup. I can't remember if I ever used it. I think I found it right before Pearl got removed. Sounds about right. And what I want you guys to do is please find me a consistent lineup for like default from back here. Every time I come onto this map in a custom, I find a lineup and then forget it. So I can't even remember what mine was. Whether it was something like that. No, that's definitely not it. Yeah, I can't even... See, I've already forgotten it again. I found it like 2 weeks ago. But my real fun lineup that I want to hit a clip with is for default on B.
Yeah.
From all the way back here. all the way in this corner. And then this shadow here, top of the shadow, and then jump and throw at the peak if you jump.
Placing swarm grenade.
And if you don't mess it up, which I think I might have just then, it lands for
Swarm
default.
grenade out.
To have a normal
Go on
lineup
my
for
mark.
default, also very hard. Especially because my old lineup was to play in the old corner that was a lot deeper in, and aim at the top here, which doesn't work, because now you're just visible. So my new one for that is, I believe, coming into the middle of this, and what was it? It was aiming, yeah, in this corner here, the little line between your turret and your ult.
Placing
I
swarm
believe
grenade.
that's my new one for default. Yes,
Swarm grenade out.
that hits pretty much all of it. Split is a very weird Killjoy map. She's amazing on this map, one of our best maps, which is funny because it's also got like no lineups, and it really only has one setup per site. It's just that those setups happen to be the best setups in the game. There's also not too many like crazy tips. It's just a very basic map. Everyone plays Killjoy relatively the same if they know what they're doing, and it just works. So the one random tip that I can give is Sage is popular on this map. So you'll notice my tip is around beating a Sage, and my setup is around beating Sage, but it works no matter what. So my random tip is against Team Sage rolling mid every time. After a while, they're just going to wall it and stop watching it. Especially if your team pushes A, I like to lurk mid once I've heard people not be really too close. I am, like Bind, I am turret boosting.
Bot coming back.
I don't know if I've got a lineup. Let's try to find a lineup. That back left
Placing
leg.
sentry. Recalling my bot.
So I don't really have a lineup for this one.
Placing sentry.
There we go.
Recalling my bot.
That front leg up against here. That front leg in that corner there.
Turret out.
Jumping in. And then you jump onto this box and you just jump straight over the Sage wall. Come down the other
Bot coming
side.
back.
And you've got a free lurk past the Sage wall into heaven. Now for the setup. Once again, we are playing around them having a Sage. I use the same setup even if they don't have a Sage, but it'll just consistently melt their team if they have a Sage, because when they push B, they'll be walling along here most of the time. So I have one molly like in line here
Placing swarm grenade.
on this circle,
Placing swarm
which
grenade.
you'll see
Swarm grenade out.
hits that whole area. Then my second molly, originally it was meant to be right here, until they changed how far you could see the mollies from ages ago. So now I place it further back just so it doesn't get destroyed.
Placing swarm
that.
grenade.
With an alarm bot here, you will get into a couple of arguments with your team about this one. I have before. They get annoyed because if you forget to hold stuff, they can sneak past it if they're not Sage walling or lurking, which is why I play backside and hold that angle. But the reason I'm not placing it here is because then it's being placed at the same spot as the molly, and therefore if they spray the alarm bot, they're also going to hit your molly most of the time. Or on this map, Sky, very common, I find, and they're just going to skydog, spot your alarm bot, and get their teammates to just shoot it. So I place this here, so it doesn't get skydogged,
Alarm bot out.
and then once they get pushed up to here, you're going to pop both of these,
Swarm grenade out.
and that's going to one of the best setups in the game, especially if they're Sage balling. This map's got no like standout, like just amazing lineups, so I'm instead going to show one of my cool lineups, probably the coolest one that I have found.
Bot coming
One
back.
for default on A, so for bomb here. Coming back here, this one bounces twice, which is weird because Killjoy mollies do not bounce. So we're going to come up against like this kind of like line in the wall, and Just gonna aim at the top of the triangle like this and throw.
Placing swarm grenade.
Bounce, bounce, lands default.
Swarm grenade out.
I have gotten one clip with this, I'm pretty sure. One very cool lineup.
Placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
I like it especially because the enemy's gonna have no idea where it's coming from.
Placing swarm grenade.
They just hear it bounce and they...
Swarm grenade out.
One of my favourite lineups that I found. Fracture, Killjoy's best map overall. I'm gonna go for the one random tip, and I am just gonna make it the extremely obvious one. Best map in the game for her ult, unbeatable. This ult down here, just gonna hit everything. Like, you can even just see it on the map, like, it's way too powerful.
Initiated. My ultimate is ready.
Shuts them off from half the map. And the only way this used to be countable
Area's clear.
is the breach aftershock, but then they nerfed that, and now the only way it's counterable is if they commit another ult to it, like Sova ult, which honestly very easy for the Sova to miss, and almost not worth it now that it requires all 3 of the Sova ult charges, and Brim ult, which honestly sometimes it's just good to get the Brim ult away from them. Because Brim ulting A is very powerful. That's my one tip. As for my lineup, another really cool lineup that I found, because lineups are hard on A, for the obvious reason that 1, there's a lot of stuff in the way, and 2, default is below a roof. So, I don't remember my lineup from up here, but let's be honest here, no one's planting there anyway. Everyone is planting here. So, I ended up finding a lineup after a while. Very cool one. You're coming all the way back into your spawn as far down into this corner as you can go. And aiming just on this line here, in the middle, just a bit to the right like this. And jump throwing.
Placing swarm grenade.
Lands like that.
Swarm grenade out.
And hits all of the default there. As for setup, I'm gonna be honest, there's some good ones for B. I completely forgot them. Other than my one that I used to play in Plat, which is probably not gonna work in high rank.
Swarm grenade out.
But in terms of my ones here, obviously, realistically the lineup is just chuck them. But don't remember them well enough to know that they were amazing. They worked well in low elo, I know that. This map's amazing for Killjoy low elo. Have it once again like Pearl, have not played it while being a high rank. Plat was the last time I played it. Plat gold, high gold, low plat, I believe. Or yeah, just plat, full stop. So I haven't even tested any of the setups. But I'm gonna say for my setup, the standard A1, molly in here. And which, yeah, hard to see until you get like out here. Alarm bot like this.
Out.
Or even just out in the front like that. And your second molly kind of like on this square here.
Placing swarm grenade. Placing alarm bot.
With the turret in the corner. This is gonna kill people when they come out.
Swarm grenade out. Swarm grenade out.
Stops them from running into sight because they have to run through that molly. And then with this one, I like to either secretly play in this corner and swing, or just hold them, push it running through. Or sit here, hold them if they try to run through this setup that way, and then swing and kill the ones sitting back in main.